Hello and welcome to another First Descendant video. So today is all about the Death Stalker, the latest Void boss, the hardest one in the game right now. So I've built an Enzo and I've managed to do this fight about 20 times roughly successfully. And I wanted to first quickly show you the mechanics of this fight so you know what to watch out for. Then what I'll do is I'll do a fight in real time and show you what I'm doing and what's behind all the actions, and also then show you the Enzo build in more detail once you understand how the boss works and what you need to counter. So first up, when the boss drops, it'll do direct damage to you and it will also put this ring towards you. This also does a lot of damage. Now this also applies toxin and also takes your health away. So as you can see, I don't have any health because I've put all of it into shields. But if I had health, you would lose half of it and then it'll keep hitting you and doing more damage. It'll also throw skulls at you. So it's still doing the rings. Of course, you have the kingfishers and other things. So you see these skulls coming at you. They also come and hit you for pretty good damage. So I'm just waiting to see if I get hit by the rings because I want to show you how much damage the ring would do. Okay, so I'm playing Enzo, so I'm just buffing my teammates. Okay, you can see here 4688. So it takes quite a lot of damage, and if you don't have shields, it'll go to your health, and then you'll also take toxic damage, and it'll also halve your health with some of these attacks. And in general, if you have health, it'll be very difficult to keep topping it up to the point where you can survive. You'll keep getting knocked constantly, but with this shield setup, you can survive this fight quite easily and go around, picking up your teammates. Now, when the boss goes immune, what it does is it spawns these sort of spiders with faces on it, and you have to find the one that's covering its face. So this one isn't covering the face, and you have to find one that is. So you can see the second one is also not covering the face. Over here, this one, you can see how the sort of spider legs are covering the face. So you have to go and stand in this and make sure the ring is completed, and this thing is also hitting the thing in the middle to start doing damage to the boss. Now another thing, you see these green rings up here. The boss will throw something that looks like a mask at you, and you have to shoot them quickly before they come down to sort of ground level, because if you shoot them here, they can sort of go around and they'll be more or less harmless. But if they are at ground level and you shoot them, they'll also do damage, and you have to jump over them, and you have to try and stand in the middle as well to come out of for the boss to come out of the immunity phase. Now boss is immune. I'm just shooting the skulls that this thing will shoot at you. Of course, you have to kill the kingfishers as well. I'm just hoping to see if it does that skull thing again, so you can see the white skulls. So now we are back doing damage to the boss. So boss is back to the immunity phase again. And look, you can see I'm going back here, and we're trying to sort of stay alive. And the teammates were all pretty good. Rarely anybody's going down these days. I just wanted to show those white skulls that this boss will throw at you. See this thing here. So you have to shoot these as quickly as you can because they turn into those rings. So if they are up in the air, it won't bother you as much. But if they come to the ground, they'll be doing a lot of damage to you, and your teammates or one of you may go down, and that will just make life difficult. So you can see here, they're pretty much harmless if you shoot them in the air. And then, yeah, you just do damage. Make sure to take out the skulls, because these skulls will also do damage and do toxic damage and stuff like that. So yeah, just keep fighting. You can see that ring also hit me again, but I'm constantly topping up my shield. So again, it hits you quite a bit, but yeah, my third ability is on a low cooldown, so I have shields all the time, and yeah, that's it. You can defeat the boss quite easily. Alright, so here is Enzo. I'll first explain what we are doing with this setup and how Enzo works. So Enzo is a really good support character. Enzo will buff up your teammates. Enzo will give them more crit, give them more ammo, firearm attack increases, weak point damage increases with the various abilities, and Enzo's third ability will recover his shields as well. This is the reason why we are using shields with Enzo. So the way this works is we max out the shield as much as possible. We put a lot of HP in our build and then convert it to shield. Okay, we don't even need to worry about adding toxin resistance, even though this boss is a toxic damage type, and we just have it just about enough defense. We are focusing mostly on HP, which gets converted to shields, and to do that we put as much as HP as possible. Try to find whatever components you can which have a lot of HP, so try to get as much HP as possible. Try to also get some MP recovery, max MP, a little bit of max shield would be nice as well. But yeah, mostly HP is required. A little bit of defense just to make sure you have like a basic 5,000 defense. Once you have this, the reactor can be anything. You are not worried about the reactor. What we want is skill duration increase and skill cooldown reduction. So as long as you have those two things, it doesn't matter if you have the right mounting or not. You can see I have a Thunder Cage mounting, but I'm using the Enduring Legacy. The reason for this is we are doing our damage with the gun, not with the skills. So the gun is Enduring Legacy. What I've done is I've rerolled the attributes until I got a bonus firearm attack versus Colossus. So that is excellent. The rest of the build is pretty straightforward. If you've seen any of the other Enduring Legacy builds, I've made one as well. This separate video for this one. So you just make sure you have the fire enhancement, fire rate. Again, pretty standard. You can actually not use fire enhancement to use something else. But yeah, mental focus, couple of mods to increase the ammo, magazine ammo, firearm attack increase, skill critical hit rate, skill critical hit damage, stuff like that. So pretty standard stuff here. Now, looking at the Enzo build, what we want to do is, because we are focusing so much on the shields, we want our third ability, which recovers our shield, to be available to us all the time. So what I've done is I've added enough cooldown with the reactor and with some mods here to make the cooldown lower than the duration. So you can see here the cooldown is down from 30 seconds to 7.4 seconds. And then the duration is 8.8. So our ability will be up longer than the cooldown. So as soon as it's available, we can spam it. So we constantly have the third ability. Now, of course, we would need some mana as well. So that is why I was mentioning that you put some MP in the external modules. Now, the other thing Enzo does is buff up the teammates. So if you have the supply firearm enhancer, that will be a great bonus, because it will summon a sort of device that you put on the ground. And if your teammates pass through it, they get an increase to their weak point damage and firearm critical hit rate. We also have the fourth ability, which is the ultimate. And once again, because of the extra cooldown, we've managed to drop it all the way from 90 seconds down to only 22 seconds. Now, what this does is it has a few things. It'll give you some extra ammo. There'll be a small drone that will walk with you, sort of fly with you and do some damage. We're not worried about the damage from the drone. The third ability called the third thing here called the perfect support says firearm attack increase amount 20%, firearm critical hit rate increase another 20%, and reload time modified 10%. So what you have to do is you have to just sort of stand close to your teammates or look around. If they're close by, go, and if you can buff up as many of them as possible, because with the Colossus, everybody's using the guns. So if you have Glaze or Haleys or whatever, you're just increasing their attack, and that will make life a lot easier. So you have to, so sort of, you are a support descendant here, and so you have to use your support role properly, like buff them up constantly, pick them up if they're knocked, and make sure your third is constantly working so that you don't go down yourself. So that is the setup here. And of course, I just use the long distance maneuvering, supply firearm enhancer. Now this is a tricky one to get because this is only available from the encrypted vaults in Vesper. So you may have to run around until you find one. I was lucky I got it early on. Now the main thing you have to do is you have to put as much HP and shield as possible. So we have increased HP, increased shield, and what else do we have? Stem Accelerant also puts a lot of HP. This will put a lot of shield amplification control. And then what we do is we put HP conversion and we put overwhelming shield. So this will fix your HP at 1 and then increases the max shield by 26% of the max HP. So the more HP you have, the more shield it will convert. And this will help you against the boss, because all the boss attacks with the toxin stuff, they target your health, your HP. So if you don't have HP, it doesn't bother you. So you have to just focus on the direct damage that you're getting from the boss onto your shields and keep recovering your shields constantly. So there's the ring damage first, the boss does. Then we have the skulls coming at you. Then you have the masks. Then you also have like a direct hit. So all those things are going to do damage and also do toxic damage. So if you are not worried about the toxic and your health won't be half because you don't have any health. So you will be fine in terms of that. You have to just make sure your shields don't drop. And because this recovers shield by percentage, um, it doesn't matter how much shield you have. So I have like 28, 29,000, something like that. So it'll just recover 25% of your shield instantly, and then 6% continuously. So if you keep it up all the time, you won't be in a situation where your shield becomes too low. The only downside is you have to sort of keep an eye on the shield constantly. So make sure you don't forget to press the third ability. So yeah, so that is the setup here. Nimble fingers to reduce the cooldown, skill extension to increase the duration, and focus on dimension. Now this one here, this is sort of an extra here. You don't need this because this doesn't affect it. I'm only putting it here to reduce the cooldown a little more, because like I said, I want the cooldown to be less than the duration. So that is the reason I put this here. Otherwise, I can even remove this and will still be okay. So you can see here, 9.2, 8.8. So it's about the same, but still 9.2. So I just want it to be under our, where is it? Our duration. So focus on dimension, this one. So we are not really benefiting from the focus on dimension part. We only need it for the skill cooldown. So that is why you don't even need to enhance this module. Just keep it at base level. 6.1 will be available at base level. So now you can see here, we are now 7.4 and 8.8. So cooldown will be available all the time. So that is how you build Enzo to take care of the Deathstalker. I've also done this this setup in the 400% dungeons, and it's pretty good over there as well. Like all the Renas and bunnies were getting knocked, and I was just running around reviving them and just buffing them to do damage, because the bosses at the end of the 400% dungeons, those guys are tough. They have a lot of health, and your randoms, your glass cannon bunnies and Frenas will get knocked. So you have to just make sure your shields are up all the time. And because you get so many enemies and so many MP drops, energy drops, you can use your abilities constantly. So that is the setup. Now what I'll do is I'll run the dungeon in real time so you can see what I'm going through, the mechanics of the fight, and hopefully that helps you defeat the Deathstalker. Deathstalker is not that hard compared to, let's say, Gluttony or even Frostwalker when before the nerfs. Those guys were much harder. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Enzo, Enzo is really good for buffing the other descendants, the teammates, and giving their firearm attacks more power and things like that. So that's first thing I'm doing here, is giving my teammates more attacks. So I've just added my fourth. This is my first ability. This also gives more crit if you have the firearm supply thing. Now we just try to do as much damage as possible. Now you can see my shield has gone, and I'll press my third ability to get my shield back. This is the whole magic with this setup. So I can take hits from the boss, but I'll keep my shields up all the time. So that way I'll never be low on health. But yeah, that is the only thing you have to keep in mind. You have to keep topping up your shield. So I'm deliberately sort of standing closer to take the damage. Let me get the team member. You can avoid the rings by basically going under them. So I think the boss should be close to immunity. Now it's in the immunity phase. What it does is it will spawn these things here, and you have to look for one with the face covered. So all these are not the right ones. The one you're looking for is one which has the face covered. Not this one either. I think it's up there. Yeah. So now we have to stand in here and try to do that. So once again, my fourth is up, so I'll get that ready so my teammates are doing more damage. And also I have to just remember to keep, now shoot these skulls because they also do damage. And there's another thing, a sort of mask type skull that this boss will release, but we are actually taking care of him quite easily. So we did not see that here. Make sure to just shoot the skulls. So as you can see, I don't have any HP. So all the toxic related damage that this boss would do, they are not applying to me because now this is another mechanic, these stopwatches. So you have to go and stand in the circle to stop it from like completing. And you have to do all of them. Otherwise, what happens is it'll randomly target one of your teammates and do a ton of damage. So you can see here, this one here with the face covered, this is where we have to go. This is the Fury mechanic, let's say. So you can see here, I'm picking up my teammates, I'm buffing them, giving them more damage, and I'm also trying to make sure my shield is up. So there are quite a few things to keep in mind during this fight. But if you can do that, it's pretty good. I'm waiting for the other skull type, mask type skulls that this thing will throw. Because that is another thing that makes these sort of green rings around you. Actually, we defeated this very, very comfortably. As you can see, I did not go down in the fight. I was constantly buffing and, boosting my teammates. And how long did it take to finish this fight? Probably 3 minutes, under 3 minutes maybe. Exactly 3 minutes, 3 minutes and 1 second. Okay, so that's how easy it is once you figure out the mechanics. I have to make sure I picked up the blueprint for the gun. I did pick it up, right? Yeah, we got the menu.